Afternoons with Zweli on 947.
Dropping all your favorite afternoon beats from 12 to 3.
Speaking of the kids, we were crying because we had to wake up to the elements and go to work. And you know what I was thinking of? With the poor children. Like I said, my mother would have let me stay at home back in the day. But for majority of the kids this week, it was business as usual. Off to school we went, 5 o'clock call time or wake up time. And you've got to bath in the dark, get ready in the dark. You get to school and the sun hasn't even come up yet. And you're just thinking, why would parents do this to their children? Now, my thing is, I remember being young. It's not that I was allowed to do whatever it is that I wanted at any point in my life, but there were certain times that my mom would feel like, okay, today's fine. Like if there was a cousin who's older and, could supervise at home, then if it's too cold, it's like, just stay at home. You'll be fine. You'll catch up on the work. But I was listening to another radio program. Yes, program sounds so fancy. I was listening to a radio program. And there was a very, very upset parent. And it led me to the question, what made your parents come to school that one time? Usually it's the other way around. The school calls your parents, Mr. Mbele, Zweli has not completed his essay in time. Can you please come pick him up? And he can only come back when he's done it. That's what would usually happen, or you've done something wrong. But what about the time that your parents said, no, enough is enough, I'm going to your school?
Enough is enough. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. Thank you.
So with this radio program that I was listening to, oh so fancy a program, there was a mom who was basically complaining because she had found out that her child's school had no heaters or proper heating system during the cold. Now she found all of this out because her child texted her from school, snitch, and mom wasn't impressed and she wanted answers. Now, depending on how hands-on your parents were or how much time they actually had to be at your school and whatnot, most of us probably remember that one incident that got the parents through the gates of that school. Maybe a teacher embarrassed you in front of class. Maybe you were being bullied. Maybe your lunch kept getting stolen. Maybe you were unfairly left out of that sports team. Or maybe you came back home with a story and when your parents are like, they did what? Apara, get dressed. We're going back to that school. I'm going to handle this teacher. And I remember there was one time when I was kicked out of a class because a teacher called me stupid. I mean, first of all, I was an A student, so I don't know why you're calling me stupid. But second of all, I was defending a friend. I was defending a friend because, believe it or not, and yes, some of these stories do sound unbelievable at times, but I had a friend who decided one day that they needed to sneeze, and then all hell broke loose. The teacher got very upset, thought that is too dramatic, and I'm kicking her out of class. I defended her because we're good people.
Amanda. Oh, okay.
Yes, and that was me. Amanda. Oh, you're kicking me out? They kicked me out because I was called stupid and my mom was having none of it. She was at the school the very next morning. Now, I need to find out from you what happened at school that made your parents personally show up. And most importantly, what happened once your parents got to the school? Because, believe it or not, there are some parents that cause a bit of a ruckus. But maybe, hey, it wasn't the parents that went to the school. They were called in. What were they called in for?
947.
When's that time, though, that you couldn't stay at school? Something happened. You wanted absolutely nothing to do with being there because the teachers are rude. You're being bullied over there. I was once called stupid by a teacher, and my mom said, what is happening over here?
Pooja, what is this behavior?
Old lady. Also, you are there in your 60s and you are busy calling a young 12-year-old stupid. What is wrong with you? Nonetheless, I've always been the same. People always wonder, and they're like, you speak up so much. And I was like, I do. So I was speaking up for a friend. They sneezed. And for some people, you'll, which we've been told medically you shouldn't be doing. So it was like, achoo! And we're like, Tsecho, come on, dog. But that's how she sneezed. And now she was getting kicked out. And I was like, man, this is how this person sneezes. So if you're going to kick her out, you got to kick all of us out. And she was like, well, then you must also leave, you stupid. And I was like, I'm going to tell Nsitseng Mbele, and it's not going to be nice when she comes here tomorrow. Carol says, Zweli, my mom came to school because a teacher slapped me. Carol, I need you to repeat that again. Okay, you can't repeat it, so I'll read it again. Zweli, my mom came to school because a teacher slapped me in grade 6. What? I got home and casually mentioned it while eating. My mother put her food down. The next morning, she was at reception before assembly even started. The teacher apologized to me and my mother and somehow my ancestors, and I actually felt sorry for her in the end. Aw, Carol, I didn't feel for our teacher. She got fired. Kyle says my dad came because I didn't make the first rugby team, and I told him the coach said. He said I was too small. I begged this man not to go. He went anyway. He had an entire meeting with the coach about judging children on ability. I still didn't make the team, by the way. So now I was small and the boy whose dad complained. Thanks, Dad. And that's the other thing. One day we must speak about when parents speak out of 10. When you're like, why are you speaking on my behalf? Now you're making me seem like the child that is just... Ay. Anyway, what happened that one day your parents went to your school? What did that teacher do to you?
Oh, please, Zweli. I was born in the 60s, went to school in the 70s and 80s.
Oh.
Your mom didn't care what was going on at school. She was working. She had stuff going on. You just sorted your own stuff out.
Oh, no.
You didn't, the less you got your mom involved, the less trouble you were in. Oh. So, yeah, there was no mommy running to school in those days.
So my parents got called in for me taking Oreos out of another kid's lunchbox.
Oh, no.
So to make a long story short, I had a friend who used to never eat his lunch, but he would get into trouble at school. So if he didn't eat his lunch. So he would give us his Oreos.
Yes.
And the one day a teacher caught us taking his Oreos out of his lunchbox, and he said, no, we're bullying him.
No!
He's too scared to say no to us, so he gives us his food. So my father came into the school with a whole attorney. And a fiscal attorney came into the school and he wanted to sue the school for a defamation of character. And that's what happened, and that's why he got called in.
Yeah, really, I think at some point my mom was spending more time at my school than what I was spending at my own school, primary school. I was getting in trouble for fighting, for not listening in class, not doing homework, all of that stuff. So at some point my mom was there more than what I was.
Whoa! Look, I must say for the elderly generation, class of 76, yes, we know you guys had a very different time in school. But I am here for the dad who brought a lawyer. Yes, bring that attorney over there and let's sort all of this out, because how are you saying, basically they're saying you're a thief and then you're going to carry that tag until you're in matric. We like your dad.
947.
Your parents went to school once upon a time, didn't they? It wasn't pretty because someone did something to you, and now we needed to get to the bottom of all of this. My favorite story is still the story about a dad bringing an attorney to school. And you know what? Because I'm so big on that sort of stuff. Like, I'm all about, I got my own attorneys and that sort of thing. And like, yeah, you know who to call when there's something that is happening. So people know when not to disrespect you. Let the law take its course. Anyway, let's wrap it up with a couple more from our WhatsApp hotline. Post says, my mom once drove back to the school because I phoned her crying that a teacher had accused me of cheating in a test. She walked into that office with my previous report cards and... Yay! Mpa! I am having a moment over here! I'm having a moment! Exonerated! This happened to me once upon a time. It happened. And it was after an exam. It was a geography and history exam, I think, in grade 9. And I was always getting A's. And then this one teacher the one time basically marked our entire papers wrong, everyone. And then he accused us of correcting his own marking in our papers. And then my mom was like, why are our children marking their own exam papers in the first place? How do you think this is going to work? But thank you so much for that message. I feel so much better because my mom was also there very quickly. My mom was a teacher also, by the way, so she was she wasted no time. Let's wrap it up with Lerato with more voice notes. Lerato says, mine was bullying. I kept coming home without my lunch because these two girls were taking it every single day. My mom eventually asked why I'm suddenly starving after school. Yo, Zweli, it felt like a bomb had dropped once I told her the truth. She arrived the next morning. Yes, she asked for the principal. The principal had to call the girls and their parents. There was basically a disciplinary hearing over all of this because people were taking my lunch. No one ever touched my lunch again. And that's because they were expelled.
Hi, Zweli.
Hey.
You know, I got slapped by a teacher.
What?
But I did not tell my mom because I knew that what the teacher was slapping me for, my mom would be like, oh, okay, you did well. So, there was no need for me to even report it. The teacher slapped me because he saw me standing with a boy.
Oh.
Well, my aunt actually came to school because one teacher called me a female dog. I think I was in grade 9 or grade 8. So yeah, I told my mother and she said sorry. And then I called my aunt and she was there in like the following day. And the teacher apologized to me in front of the whole class because it happened in front of the whole class.
There we go.
Yeah, we let bygones be bygones, but I was moved from the front to the back after that incident. So yeah, things were never the same again.
My dad came to school because the teacher had said the F word to me as well as to my whole family.
What?
So the teacher said, go and tell even whoever you want. I don't give an F. You and your parents or your dad, I don't give an F.
That is abhorrent behavior. I hope that teacher was fired and was never allowed to go teach anywhere else. You know which story I like again? Sorry about the teacher that had to apologize in front of the whole class. I'm such a big believer in your apology must be as loud as your disrespect. Like, for instance, if you accuse me of something in an email and you CC 30 of them, when it's time to apologize, DX, don't just CC me in it and one person. Everybody must be there. Be as loud as you are.
947